Hello and welcome to the Comic Book Club. I am your host, Jamil Payne. And with me is my co-host, Amanda Comey.
And I'm even awake.
Yes, you are. How's that coffee?
It's kicking in. This is great timing for me.
You would probably need that 30 minutes of technical difficulties just so you can be alive for this.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for that, actually. I know it's eating into your day, but
I'm fine. Who needs sleep?
Who needs sleep when we have comic and comic books, right?
Exactly. So, today, listeners, all three of you, we are doing a deep dive, because this may take a while. We are doing a deep dive on the 2015-2016 Tom King's comic book, The Vision. Again, written by Tom King, art by Gabriel Hernandez Walter. Is that Gabriel or yeah, that's Gabriel Hernandez Walter. Except for issue 7, which was written by Michael Walsh.
Mike Walsh?
Mike Walsh.
Who I know from a bunch of Dark Horse IDW stuff, so.
Okay.
And then Jordi Belair on colors.
See, I don't know all that. Go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah, Jordi Belair is, I joke that she does all the colors on the Marvel books, and they count her as like 20 different women, so they can say that their teams are 50% women. But she's only one woman, and she colors like half the books. And then Clayton Cowles on letters, who had a lot of work to do with the layout for the narration and dialogue, yeah?
This is a wordy book.
Yeah, and then last creative team note that I made was Mike Del Mundo did the covers, and the covers for this series that I kept seeing in the store were honestly one of the things that made me want to read the book. So he did a really amazing job of setting up what I think are kind of almost iconic covers. Like the second I saw them, I said, I'm going to be seeing that picture years from now.
I mean, it is quite striking.
Yeah.
Too bad it's wasted on a character that, can't stay like this, but, it's good nonetheless. I'm sorry. I'm being cynical. So, yeah, this book here is, it won the 2017 Eisner for Best Limited Series.
Yeah, and from a technical point of view, like, this is absolutely a book that I would want to own and be able to share with other adults to kind of, because I've got coworkers, I've got friends who are like, hey, really, comic books? And this is the sort of book you throw at them and you go, yeah, comic books. And they go, whoa.
You brought this question up on Twitter as far as, like, books you're just tired of like, recommending. And you said, for me, it'll probably be Watchmen. You're right. I'm about tired of recommending Watchmen. I think this is my new book to push on people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, comic book sucks. No, read this. And you just shove it in their face and kick them out the door.
Yeah.
And don't come back. And now tell me comic books are stupid.
Okay, so that, I mean, aside from it technically being such a good book, are there any other reasons why you recommended this for us to read? Are there any, because something that occurred to me, and we can just do this in general before we start talking about the particulars of the book.
There's a couple of things that are striking about this in this climate that I wasn't even know is the reason I necessarily picked the book consciously. But it does feel like it's kind of relevant today as it was a couple of years ago. But go ahead. I want to see where you go with this.
No, yeah, I agree. Like the outsider family is definitely a relevant angle. But I was just thinking, so here's the thing. I'm an only child who grew up with a military dad. And we moved like all the time for no reasons. And I have a small family. I think I've lived in like at least 24 different places. So for me, like my family picking up and moving and me being in a new city or a new school or something is not a big deal at all. And you guys just moved. I was wondering if you, having just moved to a new neighborhood with your family, was part of like wanting to read this again.
You know what? I never thought about that. No, I like that never crossed.
Because like the family angle for this, I like don't relate to that at all. I don't have siblings. The being new to a city, I don't relate to that at all. But I was like, oh wait, normal people definitely relate to being the new kid in a class or having to protect their family in a new environment. So
Well,
okay, I was just
well,
wondering
you
if
know,
I
just
was.
for me, I grew up in the same house my whole life, and I have a brother and a sister, but we're all 12 years apart. So it was like growing up as an only child, and my son is an only child. So like,
Yeah.
but you know, no, the ideal of family really does strike. There's certain things in this book, like I read a lot of articles like leading up to this podcast, right? Of like certain things that I never thought about that might be true. Like, cause like for me, I understand it's family. You do stuff for your family, even when it's kind of irrational, because these are the people you with, these are the people you love. Like, you know, someone, I forgot who, I wish I could credit them, was just like, you know, Division really doesn't love his family. And like that thought never crossed my mind. And I've read this twice. Like it never crossed my mind that he's forcing. Well, it's crossed my mind that he forced it, but it never crossed my mind that maybe his feelings for his new family might be a little forced because he wants it to happen so much. But like, you know, that might be a perspective that you can possibly bring. Because for me, you know, it's just like, yeah, it's his family. Like I don't know. It just I don't know. This all jumbled, but like for me, like the sense, like the core sense of family, really like strikes me. It really does. Because like I understand it. I understand like murdering a supervillain and burying it in the backyard for the good of your family. Not saying I've murdered a supervillain and buried it in my backyard, but I understand the inclination to do that.
Yeah, who wouldn't? Okay, so I kind of wanted to, before we get started, I just wanted to get a little more into, you know, why we were reading this and, who we would recommend it for. And I think we've hit that. I think if you want to start looking into, I think we were talking about going through this issue by issue. If you want to start down that track, I can try to keep us on track.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
We were saying before that if we've got 12 issues in the 2 volumes, and I set a timer for 4 minutes per issue, that would get us done in under an hour. So that's a little bit too organized compared to where we were last time, but
I mean, it's ambitious. I really like your ambition on this. It's definitely that. Okay, so let's start, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna have a timer going anyway, so it feels like we're
no, please have the timer. Please, for the love of God.
But see, now I have to reset the timer to compensate for the time spent talking about the timer. So no more timer
Okay.
talk. Go.
We'll start with issue 1, which is Vision or the Future, and like, you know, I think this cover is like really good with them like coming through the door. It's very creepy in a way, you know, like it's halfway normal and just like that extra value, like just that extra touch of just creepiness of them like phasing through the door and waving, and just the smile he has on his face. Like if you look at that cover and just the smile on the Vision face, would be terrifying if you seen that in real life.
Yeah, it's sort of taking the, because I mean these days we think the sort of nuclear sitcom Leave It to Beaver family is a little bit creepy. It sort of just takes that to 11.
Exactly. And speaking of that, if you look at the neighborhood is very much cookie cutter suburbia. Like all the houses look the same more or less. All the grass look the same. All the trees look the same. And the only thing that's out of place is this mailbox that floats. Which, I don't know if you knew this, but the address is 616.
Oh, yeah, of course it is. Because that's the Marvel universe they're in,
well,
right?
It used to be. I don't know what it is now because comic books are stupid. I would also like to say, if someone never read a comic book before, I don't know if this should be their first comic book because it's kind of all downhill from here. Let me stop. But no, we have, what are their names? George and Nora?
George and Nora are the neighbors.
George and Nora.
Yeah.
I was looking to see if there was any reference to anything, but I couldn't find anything. Like, did they? Because like this book is like really steeped in like, symbolism and like all this like references.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard, but Tom King has read a lot of other books.
Yeah.
Don't know if you noticed. He's a smart guy, and he proves it in like every single page, which he does in a way that's not super obnoxious, but I could see myself getting tired of that if it had been a longer run.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's why with these type of books he only do 12 issues because he knows. He knows.
Yeah.
He used to work for the CIA, so he's a CIA operative. So that's the thing. So they're talking about how these people are not real, how they're unnatural, how, as George put them, fancy red toasters. Now, do you have anything to say about that? About these people, George and Nora, and their cookies?
And their cookies. No, it just, I started out like not liking the neighbors at all. And I think it's interesting that even despite how creepy the cover looked, that I was able to already go back to sympathizing with Vision almost immediately just because of how these neighbors are the neighbors that everyone hates.
Every single one. They open the door, and the only thing I want to say about this splash page of them opening the door is like they all, not only do they have the diamonds on their head, but they also have like diamond symbols all over their body. Like the wife Virginia is wearing a diamond necklace. He's wearing a diamond tie pin, and the kids are wearing diamonds on their shirts. I just, that's interesting motif. There's just something interesting that I noticed. All right, then we turn the page. Now, do you want to talk about the famed flying water vase of Zenla?
Right. So, they're showing George and Nora around their house, and Vision's got all these artifacts that are from other, missions or from his friends, and, I think almost all of them become like super relevant to the plot later, which is, I was not expecting really. He's got a piano from Wakanda that has, vibranium in it. He's got a water vase of Zenla from the surfer, and, I guess it's poison. So you can't even put flowers in it, and it's like, why would you even have a thing like that?
It's fucking cool.
He's got a vibranium, lighter from Captain America, and then he's got a, Everbloom plant from the Scarlet Witch.
It's funny how you said, like, this stuff comes back, like, later, and I could think of, like, Chekhov heirlooms, because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Like, you show this shit, we're going to use it later.
Yeah.
And, they're just having a conversation. And we should also say that somebody off screen is narrating this, and we don't know who.
And it's done in a way that, I wanted to remark on this. This wouldn't work in, like, a novel, and it wouldn't work in a TV show because you can't listen to two people talking at the same time, but you can go back and forth between reading the narration and the dialogue, and the order that they're placed in, and how distinct the boxes, bubbles, whatever there's a technical term for them that's not insulting, but I don't think any professional letterers are listening to this podcast. But just the way that they distinguish the dialogue and the narration is really cool and very important, because like you can't let yourself get confused when you're reading this.
No, you cannot. All right, so they talk, and like it's kind of awkward, and then they leave. And Virginia's already, it says here she becomes unusually quiet when they talk about the plant, and there's a reason for that. But right now already we are 4 pages in, and already there's problems. Like just a small hint, like nothing major, right?
Yeah.
So now we come to maybe my favorite conversation in the whole book. As she dumped the cookies, because robots don't need cookies. They talk about, are the neighbors nice, or are they kind?
This is like the closest they get to having like real human banter.
And even that is so lifeless is not the best word for it, but it's so robotic. Like even like now, like, it's so like logical.
This is gonna be possibly an offensive comparison, but it's sort of like when you watch movies from China, and like they kind of have a plot but not really. It's sort of like a cargo cult thing, where it's like this movie was made by people who've seen movies but don't understand how they work. Like this conversation between Vision and his wife Virginia is like a conversation between two people who've heard conversations before but don't understand why people have.
You basically have two Datas talking to each other just for a Star Trek reference.
Or the episode where Data makes a daughter named Lal, and
yes,
he talks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course you would know that. Of course.
Mm-hmm. Don't get me started. Okay, so
well, this is the Vision winning the argument, as in, yes, they seem nice, because right now his will is absolute. So now we just get some background we just get some background information about like how like people are fascinated by them in the neighborhood, and the kids don't mind showing off, and it almost seems like the kids are a little more human than their parents in a way.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of stuff that's just about them getting ready to like send the kids to school, and why did the kids have to go to school, and how the kids are going to treat them at school. And again, it's a little bit like the George and Nora thing, where a lot of the kids are just like, oh, that's cool, they're robots, and some of the kids are like, you suck, you're weird.
Yeah. And again, we have this picture of just Virginia. No, we even go over like the family name. So there's the Vision, who we all know and love. There's his wife Virginia, and there's their 2 twin children, Vin and Viv. Yes.
Yeah. And I got a real King Vegeta vibe from this, where I'm like, you got to have a lot of pride to name your entire family after yourself.
Look, no, we will not talk about Dragon Ball Z, because I'm telling you that
we're not.
If it's one thing that would derail this whole podcast, it's Dragon Ball Z.
We're not going there. That was the one. It was an apt comparison, and now we're done.
So, like, again, there's not much to say, but except for this one panel, I think there's at least one panel on each couple of pages that's very pertinent to the to the overall structure, and it's this. It's when Virginia was not with her family, she spent most of her days sitting on the living room couch, exploring corners of her mind, of her preloaded memory. She was fascinated by how often she found something that made her cry. And I think that's going to be very important later on.
Yeah.
All right, so we have them sending the kids off to school, which is, cool. They talk about they say how, like, basically, the Vision feel like they need school to be normal. Like, the whole thing about this is to be normal. Like that's all he wants for his family. He wants this sense of normalcy, despite them being red, abominations of nature and science. That's what he wants. And again, Virginia has this reaction, which is also human. Is she cries because the kids goes off to school, and she was not expecting this as a reaction. And she again, it shows the Vision how, despite him creating these people, how the Vision is kind of cavalier about these things, and Virginia just rightly points out that I fear you know too little of high school. Because he like, it's not complicated. He was like, it's just like, not complicated. Do you not know kids? Because, it's a thing where, like, I really love Virginia. Like, this is almost more Virginia book than it is Divisions in a lot of ways. So, we go to the next page. You get the kids going to school. Nothing really, normal, shock and awe. This one girl writes to Vin, like, are you normal? And this gives him an existential crisis.
Yeah.
And, as they go home, he asks his sister, am I normal? And, her answer is, I don't know. Like, that's basically what her answer is. Like, I don't know. Like, that's what Father wants. So we'll try to give Father what he wants, right? Is that pretty much, like, sums it up?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we go on to the Vision waking up in the middle of the night. He says, this is my wife. I love her. I must love her, is what he says. So this, can we talk about how the fact that they sleep in separate beds?
Yeah. I mean, they're like a sitcom family, right?
Right. Like, it's...
Like, if he learned what a family was supposed to look like from watching old TV, that's what he would have seen. Ricky and Lucy slept in separate beds, right?
Exactly. But again, he says he must love her, which again gives this sense of, like, him forcing he's trying to force this bond, basically. And he has to keep reminding himself, because he says it a couple of times. Remember, he thought, this is my wife, I must love her. Now we get to the end of this issue. And go ahead.
Yes.
You
Oh no, it's already, I hadn't remembered, like, the exact timing of when things happened, and I'm surprised that this already happened at the end of the first issue. But
like, you turn the page and it's there, right? It's there.
Yeah. The family is attacked by a bad guy, I believe. The Grim Reaper, not a character I'm super familiar with.
Don't worry, no one is.
But
no,
yeah, I figured the background of that character could be, like, add a layer to what was going on, but all that was important was that he was there to mess things up. And he stabs the daughter and attacks the rest of the family, and Virginia bludgeons him to death with the cookie sheet from George and Nora. And that is the end of the first issue.
Let me ask you, do you think this is justified?
Stand your ground after someone literally stabbed your kids in your living room? Yeah, I think so.
Like, do you think she, just skip ahead to this issue, basically, do you think she has to hide this?
So, I think, okay, so part of this is, like, one of the Vision's responsibilities as a super, super OP Avenger is that he has to kind of pull his punches. And I feel like she should have... I feel like something bad would happen to her no matter what. Her personally. Like, I don't think people would blame her. They'd be like, okay, yeah, like, I understand why you did it, or like you were justified, but they'd also be like, okay, but also you're a robot and you shouldn't have hit him so hard, and now we're going to adjust your programming so that you don't hit people so hard anymore. Or like we're going to turn you off because you're just a robot and we can do that if you do something bad. So I think because she's not human, something would have happened.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think so she's understandable, but not making great choices.
Well, you see, here's my thing, and this is always my problem. And again, I love comic book superheroes, but like this is my thing. I feel like this shit is way too moral and way too unrealistic. Because I'm telling you now, I'm assuming you have a mother, right? I'm just. Mm-hmm. Look, if someone came in your house and stabbed you through your chest, and you on the floor bleeding, I guarantee your mother would kill that person.
Right. But my mother isn't like a super powered robot who's supposed to be like protecting humanity. This is like, you know, like Superman doesn't kill people.
Yes, but
Vision doesn't kill people.
Yeah.
Right? So there's like an extra layer of like it's sort of like, wasn't there something where like if you were like a professional boxer or something and you got in a fight with somebody in a bar and you killed them, it would be like your fault because like you know that you're a lethal weapon or something. Am I just like making things up?
No, you're absolutely right.
Right, so like I feel like Virginia had kind of this extra responsibility to know that she was stronger than all of the humans around her, and like that was the only mistake she made. But because she's not human, like that would avalanche. Like they'd be like, oh, we gotta like turn her off. But that's I don't think that's what she was thinking.
No,
She was having the human response of, I'm just going to kill this guy. Then she was having the human response of guilt. She wasn't thinking like, oh,
which in the book of them being human, the sad irony is that they're more human than they think they are. Like they are.
Yeah. Do you trust me to do a plot summary? Yeah. So that we can get to...
Yes, please. Like you could have stopped me, you know that, right?
No. I wanted to see, what it would take, because going back through that in more detail with you, I was picking up a lot of how expertly the pieces were laid out ahead of time. And
this is why I texted you a couple of days ago and said I think this is going to be a long episode, because there's a lot here.
Okay, so let me go ahead and try to do a bit of a plot summary so we can get to talking about, more of, and maybe a good way to follow this up would be to go into how those heirlooms come back.
Yes.
But all right, so the 10 bullet point summary that I had was, the Vision moves to Arlington with his new family, and they try very, very desperately to be normal. The bad guy shows up, stabs the daughter, and Virginia, kills him. Then this ends up with the daughter is broken and out of commission in a very disturbing state, while the mother covers up for it. The son is approached by the daughter's lab partner at school. I think the kid's name was Chris.
Yes.
And Chris is just asking, like, hey, can I talk to your sister? And the son gets upset and gets in a fight with him. So the son gets suspended for that. Then I think I don't know, one or two other little things might have happened, but shortly after that, the daughter's repaired and comes back to school and has like a heart-to-heart with her lab partner, and he says that she's really cool. Then the Virginia is getting blackmailed because someone saw her cover up the murder of the Grim Reaper from the first episode. She goes to confront her blackmailer, and it turns out that it's the father of Chris, her daughter's lab partner. And similar to the first time, while she's, arguing with the dad, he gets out a gun to shoot her, and she phases, and the bullet goes right through her and kills his son. So then she knocks out the dad, and he's in a coma. So again, a human response, but she's responding using kind of the extra powers she has as Vision's wife. And that's maybe where she would get into trouble. So after this second incident, Vision lies to the police about it to cover for her. And at this point, the Avengers send in Victor Mancha, because the Avengers know what's going on. And
we'll get into a little more detail once we go through here.
Yeah. So Victor was a character from the Runaways, and pretty much all the background you need for him is included in this story. But Victor is also a robot based on Ultron, so he's kind of like
Ultron Jr.
Yeah, that makes him kind of like the Vision's cousin or his brother or something.
They're brothers.
I mean, as much as robots can be brothers.
When
they're made by separate people and copied from the same thing. But
there's a lot of shaky familial bonds in this.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what they want, is they want to treat Victor like a brother because they want to be normal, and normal people have extended families as well. So Victor's supposed to be there to kind of try and find out what's going on and get a read on the family and figure out why Vision's acting weird. But the son, Vin, catches Victor giving an update to the Avengers. And so then Victor accidentally kills the son, because that's what robots do in this book, is they respond the way a guilty human would, but then they have lethal force to back it up. The Vision sees this, and he gets angry and decides he wants to kill Victor. Obviously, the Avengers are going to lengths to stop this, so Victor's actually like in max security Avenger prison somewhere. So Vision tries to go kill Victor, and at the very last moment, Virginia shows up and she kills him instead. With this idea that Virginia has seen the future and knows that if Vision takes this step to kill Victor intentionally, so not as a response, not as something he was provoked to do, but if Vision kills Victor like this, it will be the end of the world for everybody, because Vision won't be able to stop.
He will rage the world.
Yeah. And then the very, very end of the sort of epilogue is that the narration has mostly been the Scarlet Witch, and she's been explaining this to the daughter who survived all of this, so that she can know what really happened with her father and her family. So it's kind of the bare bones plot. But I think maybe I would be interested to go back and trace how the artifacts played into how this all unrolled. Was there someplace else that you wanted to start?
No. I would just, like I said, I was going like page by page, or every couple of pages, And like, no.
Yeah, exactly. Every couple pages you're like, whoa.
Yeah, I like just this picture of Viv, like, just in half and on this operating table.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it's horrifying, right? Because there's no guts. But but there might as well be guts, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, Virginia and the Vision are having this conversation, and again, she gives a version of what happens. But in her version, you know, he runs off. Also, as they talk, I just like to see that there's a table between them. So there's like this gap between them right now. Okay, I can't do this with every page. But also,
there is a lot of table smashing.
There is a lot of table smashing, but as they talk, there is this coffee table between them, I guess, to represent the space. And again, it's this thing of, well, like, maybe the Vision made these people a little too human. Maybe the Vision made these people more human than he actually is. Cause that's what it seems like. Like, maybe he was too good at his job. Also, I would like to say, like, the vases in the background, the Everbloom plant is also, like, in this,
yeah. Okay.
When they talk to the principal, I think this is the first or the second time the Vision talks about how he has saved the world 37 times.
Oh yeah, 37 times.
And how, like, again, what Vin did is terrible, but this prince is also terrible because he compares his, you know, their children to, a gun? And, like, he never referred to them as a children, he just refers to them as a thing.
Mm-hmm. That's part of the, just sort of the anti-robot microaggressions just sort of stacking up through the entire book. Those sorts of details, are like what makes you feel it. No, I mean, I love all those pieces. It's just, the nature of microaggressions is that they're small and they're spread out. So if we talk about all of them, it will take forever.
Yeah, you're right. But it was just interesting because the 37 time thing does come up several times.
Yeah. Actually, at one point, he starts numbering them, right?
Yes, he does.
So, okay, but this Everbloom plant. So, I don't really know that much background on Scarlet Witch besides the fact that she's super, super overpowered. She wears really awesome costumes, and she was responsible for House of M.
Right.
So that's pretty much my background on Scarlet Witch.
By a cow.
Right. You reminded me of that earlier. She was raised by a talking cow?
Yes, a talking bovine, yes.
Got it, okay. I am 100% fine with this. Alright, but this plant is supposed to be from Mount Wundagore? It's supposed to be from the Scarlet Witch's hometown. And
she's a gypsy. Like, well, descendants of a gypsy, apparently. Yeah.
But the trick with this plant is it lets you see the future. And there's a cute anecdote about all of the tourists come and they'll take like fake plants home with them, thinking that it's gonna show them the future, and they end up eating like roses that are covered in acrylic paint or something. But the other reason why she laughs, in addition to like the tourists being tricked, is that in order to get the future vision, you have to, first, something has to eat the plant, and then you have to kill whoever ate the plant and eat it again. So you have to like rip it out of their stomach and eat it again. Which is like super, super gruesome. And probably not usually worth it.
No.
So, this comes into play in two ways. One is that, so at some point in the story, they end up with a dog, which is actually like they took the brain out of the neighbor's dog that they accidentally killed. But at some point they end up with a dog too.
Which
And
is just fucked up, which is because they lie about it, and like instead of just like letting it be, like the Vision first instinct was, well, I can use this, which is just, you know.
Yeah. But before the climactic battle, Virginia, the dog eats part of this plant, and then Virginia kills their dog and eats the flower from the dog's stomach so that she can see the future. But I was almost wondering if that was even necessary for her to see the future, because it's also super heavily implied and then confirmed that Virginia's based on the Scarlet Witch. And if she's based on the Scarlet Witch and she has all of these preloaded memories that make her sad, some of those memories should be from the Scarlet Witch seeing the future, right?
Right.
So she should have the witch's memories of the future and then her own vision of the future, all of which tell her that she's got to stop. She's got to stop her husband. The Scarlet
Witch isn't the one that ate the plant. It was
Agatha, right?
Agatha.
Right.
By the way, the Vision, because I'm listening to you, but I'm also looking at the pages, and like Tom King created my favorite new slur for anything for robots, which is socket lovers. Like I really enjoy that slur.
Too bad we can't use it,
I
right?
know.
We're gonna have to wait for like self-driving cars or something.
Oh, socket lovers. Oh, that is, it takes a smart man to think of something that base.
Yeah.
So now I'm looking at the Vision reviving Viv and his threat to Tony Stark, which freaks Tony Stark out. But since the Vision and Tony Stark has been friends for over a decade at this point, he doesn't say anything to the other Avengers about it. Like,
yeah.
Like, well, that was weird.
Well, it's the thing is, Vision's got a lot of goodwill he has to burn through before people are going to start calling him on his shit.
Yeah, exactly. I also like that Tony says, where the Eastern Seaboard goes out, I just claim you turn evil and made me do it. Which is something that happens a lot in comic books. Like super often. Like,
yeah.
Like, so it's not the realm of possibility. And he does bring her back to life. Okay, and let's see here. Also, the killing of the cat by Agatha. If you notice that it's in black and white, but the blood of the cat and the flowers, everything else is in black and white, monotone, except for the blood. I just something I noticed the second time around.
Yeah, that was really striking, and also like that does a good job of indicating it's not like part of the story right now, that it's like a side swipe or a flashback, a side flash, a flash sideways.
So, can we talk about Robot 6?
Oh yeah, if you wanna. I mean, yeah.
Like, it's my favorite.
I imagine it's just as awkward as everything else in the book.
It has to be, right? Like, I think the best part is like when she. Okay, I'm sound creepy saying this. When she takes off her underwear, she just doesn't take them off. She fades them off. Like, it's just that step of like. It's just that one step farther. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this can't be normal. Let her have her face, her clothes off. And it's just weird to see her underwear like slide through her feet as they hit the ground.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I wonder if she's doing this for distraction.
Oh, she's definitely like doing it to, I don't know, that's like a thing people do when they're guilty, is they're like, oh, like, we gotta do it right now because that's like you forgiving me.
Yeah. You see, now this conversation is getting awkward, but that's what this book does. Like it's not, like, despite this being, like, it's Division, right? It's a mainstream superhero. He's super popular now because of the comic books, but these are dealing with, like, these super adult things, like this in particular, you know.
Yeah.
And also, she might be grateful that, you know, he did just raise their daughter from the grave. So she also might be grateful for that. Also, I like that when it cuts to them in the silhouette of the curtain, the very next panel is Go Home Socket Lovers. Just to really hammer on that they're about to do the sets.
Tom King likes to slip some innuendo in his stuff, I've noticed.
Alright, let's see here. What else do we have?
Do we want to go back to the other stuff from the beginning?
Like what? Exactly.
So, there was also, so there's the vibranium lighter that Vision used to escape for the final battle because he could use the vibranium to break out of the, force field that Tony Stark had put around the house. Right. So the Vision and Victor get in a fight. The Avengers swoop in and take him away. Vision's on house arrest. They put a force field around the house so they can keep him there and watch what's going on. And he uses the lighter to get out. And then, let's see, the vase. At the very end, Virginia drinks from it to kill herself.
And the Vision begs her to just, and again, this is related, as in, when Chris is talking to Viv before he inevitably dies, and he like, does the rain like bother you? And she's like, no, it just passes right through me, which is again repeated later when the bullet passes through Virginia that kills Chris. And again, this is the Vision asking Faye so it can come right through you, and she's just like, no, this is how I'm supposed to go. This is just how it's supposed to end.
Yeah.
Nice boots, by the way. When she went to go see Chris' dad, those some really nice boots that she had on.
Oh man, I didn't notice.
She's very stylish in her like trench coat and like thigh high boots.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go back to that page because I usually notice that stuff. I'm usually the one who's like, wow, the wardrobe choices are really key here. But there was one more thing from their living room at the beginning that I think played a much bigger role than I appreciated. And I was wondering what your take on this was, since you've read this an extra time than I have, and you've also had more time to sit with it. But the piano that had all the vibranium in it.
Yeah, Victor's a junkie.
Yeah, that was like not really, I don't know if that's in like other books or something, but that was like not something that like I understood, was that vibranium like can mess up robots.
You know what? I don't.
Well, because I'm just thinking like, okay, if vibranium can mess up Victor, what are they doing having a vibranium piano in their house with their kids? Like, couldn't that slowly be making them all crazy?
It could. I'm trying to think. Like, that's the thing about vibranium. When it's used, it's whatever the story needs it to be.
Right.
So, like, you're asking me what are the properties of vibranium and what does it do? And I'm just like, the main thing that it does, from my understanding, is it can absorb shit. Like it can absorb and redirect energy. Like, as far as anything else, I'm not really for sure. And like, it doesn't
Okay.
make him crazy. It actually makes him better, but he gets addicted to it. And like,
Okay.
I've read like the first 6 trades of Runaways, which we have to talk about at some point because I think that's going to be polarizing. Because I have a very weird take on Runaways, different from everybody else's. So we should definitely read that at some point. That might be an argument. But
Okay.
but I never got to the part that he was in. I never ever got to the part where he shows up in the Runaways.
Okay.
I never knew he existed to this book.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Well, he was relatively forgettable because he wasn't in the beginning of Runaways, which is the classic part. So I hadn't really remembered that he existed until this. And then I said, oh wow, that's why it's important for the people who are writing your comic books to have read like a lot of other comic books, because those sorts of connections, I mean, on the one hand, they make people feel good because they're like, oh, it's an Easter egg and I recognized it. But on the other hand, it makes the world feel a little bit more real.
Because you're pulling from all these things from the past. It pulls from the continuity, and like you just it makes it feels more real. And sometimes comic books have a problem with that. It does, if you can bring all of this back. And he does in a great way. You know what I'm saying? He brings all this stuff back, into this comic. Yeah. Even the weird shit, even the whole brain pattern thing, which I'm pretty sure that's a comic book thing, because I'm not even sure how that works. Like, I don't know how you can be a different person, but based after somebody else's brains, but I guess. Like,
yeah.
But no, that's an interesting point. It could be driving them crazy. It could be slowly driving them crazy. Do we talk about the mental breakdown Virginia has and she breaks the table and then she repeats like every third word because everything is not normal?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've hit on most of the big plot points. And like I said, I kind of wanted to trace what happened to those Chekhov's artifacts that were in their living room at the beginning, because I think that kind of hits
most of
what happens. But I think, I don't know. I mean, I'd be happy to just hit on some of the different layers that King added to this story. Like all of the extra stuff that makes it like super, super rereadable, that makes it the sort of book that you recommend
to everybody. Like even from how the panels are laid out, and that's usually something I don't notice. But right now I'm looking at where he's recounting the 37 times he saved the world, and he admits that it might be more than that. But I just know the fact that how many times it's Ultron, like it's Ultron at least 5 to 6 times. And by the way, these are all actual things that happen in the comics. Again, I left my notes at work where I actually had like the comics, all the references.
Oh my gosh, no you didn't.
Oh yes, I did. Yes,
no,
I did.
Oh my gosh.
Look, I scoured the internet. Like, mind you, I didn't know this off the top of my head. I don't want no one to think that I knew this off the top of my head. But these are all actual real times. These are all real storylines that happen in the comics.
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't think that they weren't real times, but I also wouldn't have been surprised if it was just like, oh hey, like I probably could have guessed that half the times Vision saved the world they were fighting Ultron. Right? Like, oh, big surprise.
But yeah, and like in this is where he lies. This is where like he almost signs his deal with the devil. Is when he lies. It's just like this is when like officially all his goodwill is used up. He doesn't know that yet. Nobody else knows that yet, but this is when officially all his goodwill is like. But again, what he does is a human reaction. It's a very human reaction. he lies to protect his family. He knows something's wrong.
Yeah.
He may not know what, but he knows his wife did something. Because he knows his wife is severely screwed up. Alright, then, like, this is where, the dog dies. The house is just wrecked. So, like this has been going on for days. They've just been tearing up the house.
Yeah.
Like I'm assuming
They finally smashed all of the tables and all of their backup tables, and there are no more tables left to smash.
The TVs and the walls behind the walls.
Yeah.
And like apparently this has been happening for days. And like Viv is just crying in the corner somewhere. George comes over to get the cookie. To look for the dog, and she handed the cookie sheet that's been. I'm pretty sure that's the cookie sheet she used to beat the Grim.
It is.
Okay,
it is.
That's right, in this bench. But like again, the Vision hasn't done anything to stop this because apparently this has been going on for some time, and he hasn't done anything about this problem.
So I wanted to ask at the end. Virginia says that she, as his spouse, was able to go into his memory and, like, change things to hide stuff from him.
Yes.
Do we feel like she really did that, or was she just saying that as part of her confession so he wouldn't be blamed?
She was saying that as part of the confession. I read it as in that was a lie. She did to protect.
Me too.
She did to protect her husband because that's human. That's the human thing to do. She loved her husband. It's beautiful. It's tragic. It is fucking sad. It's very Shakespearean. Which brings me to the Merchant of Venice.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of
the biggest proof that Tom King has read another book.
And look, this is at the end of issue 6. Because it's 12 issues. So issue 6 is almost the ending of one arc. This is where we discover, like, the narrator in the first 6 issues is Agatha, who is now dead. and this is when the Vision finally decides that, he'll do anything for his family. Which is another thing we should talk about. If they just would have left the Vision the fuck alone, when none of this would have happened. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they had a rough patch. But they almost fulfilled, they self-fulfilled their own prophecy.
Yeah. Right, so it's towards the end of, it's towards the end of that arc that, the son starts being obsessed with Shakespeare, right? And he's reading this play in school and he gets, like, really, 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 really into it. And to the point where, Victor, while he's staying with them, comments, and it's a hilarious little piece because you think that,
it's a masturbation joke.
Yeah, you think it's a masturbation joke because you think that Victor's telling him to keep it down because everybody can hear him masturbating upstairs, but really he's like, hey look, all robots are obsessed with Shakespeare, right, but you can't be doing Shakespeare all day.
Look, I hate to do this, right? How do you masturbate loudly? Like, I
mean,
what type of technique?
This sounds like a dare.
I know it's not. God, no. But just
I don't know. I mean, now that I think about it, you're right. It doesn't really make sense, but
the sad part is,
but the joke is still great. So.
But just the thought of like what type of masturbating is he doing for it to be so? If that was what they were talking about. Okay, sorry. I am so. Hey, like before we move on, do you want to talk about this P versus NP thing? Because you was really taken back by that.
Oh, I was. Yeah. So there's also in this book another definitive example. Evidence, I suppose, that Tom King has read other books, is that he makes a P versus NP metaphor, and he does a relatively good job of explaining what you need to know. So unlike the Merchant of Venice allusions, he actually explains what you need to know about P versus NP in the book. All right, so here's the thing. I'm like a math person.
Nerd.
And yeah, and I took a computability and complexity class once, and I think I got like a pity C in it because I like did a lot of the work, but it was, I wasn't really a computer science person, and it was a computer science class. So anyways, I've kind of seen like what the problem really is, and it's a bit, this is one of those math problems that gets like really, really simplified. Anyways, I think the metaphor would have stood without him actually saying P versus NP, but if you look it up online, you'll get the same point. Anyways, the P versus NP problem essentially comes down to there are some things in life where it's very, very easy to know if you found the solution, if you have the answer, very easy to know if you're doing it right, but it's very, very hard to find the answer. So things like what is happiness, it's very easy to know what happiness looks like or what it feels like, but it's very difficult to find a way to always be happy. And P versus NP is just kind of talking about like, is there a way to reduce problems where it's easy to identify that a solution is a solution to problems where it's easy to find a solution. If you're looking for a more specific example, I think Sudoku will work. So Sudokus are the number puzzles in the newspaper where all you have to do is put all the numbers 1 through whatever in the boxes, and there have to be 1 per line, 1 per row, 1 per sub-block, whatever the rules are. And it's very, very easy to check that the solution's right. Like a computer can check that a Sudoku solution is right in, I don't know, like a second, 1 or 2 seconds. And it doesn't even matter how big the problem gets. It's really, really easy to check because all you do is you just, count. But the bigger the Sudoku gets, the longer it would take for a computer to solve it. And it's exponential. So like you double the size of the problem and it takes more than double the time to solve it. So that's like a P versus NP. Like it's very easy to check the solution. It takes a second, but the bigger the problem gets, it starts becoming a thing that you can't really solve with an algorithm. So P versus NP is there an algorithm that lets you actually find the solution faster? Like, are we just stupid? Is really what it says. So that was a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't about a comic book.
No. It's one of the chapter 6 is called P versus NP. I find it
so
pertinent to what it is.
Yeah, so the idea is that, if Vision is mostly a computer, he knows what normal is, he knows what human is, he sees it, but he doesn't know how to do it. And there is no amount of trying directly that gets you there. And yet he's missing the point that maybe it's the trying that
makes you human. And again, since he is a robot, it's like he's trying to solve this very complex. He's trying to solve this using math, and that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Issue 7. I think we should go through because I think issue 7 is the best issue, in my opinion.
Okay.
In a lot of ways. And this is the one written by what's his name? Tom Walsh.
Oh, that's Michael Walsh did the art assist. Yes. He did the art for the Agatha Flash Sideways. Okay. That's why it looks different.
Okay, and he did the art all for this issue because it's all a flashback for the most part. And this issue is called I Too Shall Be Saved by Love. And it's And the cover is real striking. It's the Vision with like 4 Scarlet Witches surrounding him. And it's just a really beautiful cover. And you get on the first page, which is a splash page of them after sex. And it's kind of awkward. And there's clothes thrown everywhere. And like, I want you like, it's all bathed in red, which is like passion, hot, fiery, you know. And he tells this joke that the Wasp told him about a talking toaster.
Right, and he killed the Wasp, didn't he?
Did he? No,
No.
I don't think so. I think he just burnt her. Yeah.
Okay.
I think again, 50 years of comic books.
No, you're right. That wouldn't make sense that she told him a joke while she was dying. Oh no, you killed me. Wait, before I go, I have to tell you a joke.
I tell you the toaster joke. And look, these next 4 pages are all in red, and they are happy, and they're laughing. And again, I had this written down, but it shows them later. And again, these are actual issues of comic books. I don't know about the kissing behind the tree part, but these are actual fights from actual issues of the comic book.
Right.
And it's just them in love. It's them in absolute love. It goes. Did you have anything to say about this?
No. Just, you're right. This was a really pivotal bit of background to understand what was going on in the whole book.
It's then you have this scene of Wonder Man, I don't know if you know anything about Wonder Man at all. It's just I like to think like Wonder Man is like one of those characters that someone thought was important, but never turned out to be. So
yeah.
Like, you know, he's on this like really like he's on this memorable team of Avengers, but he's probably the least memorable member of whatever famous team that was, because like in comic books they tend to do that. Is like, okay, so we're gonna have the Justice League, then we're just gonna throw in, I don't know, Green Arrow or somebody, just you just throw, and they do this, and Wonder Man happened just to be around the time the Vision was created and all this stuff, like he just happened to be an Avenger at the time. So because of this, Wonder Man is always sort of kind of relevant even when he's not, because he plays such a pivotal role in the creation.
So it's less that he did anything interesting, but he's important for like he's a character who actually had consequences. So like the stuff around him is important even though he didn't do anything.
Exactly.
It's that kind of okay.
Exactly. And basically he's been coaching off this for 50 years. But
man, that sounds like a nice gig.
I know, but you have this dinner where he's like having a toast to his quote unquote extended family. Again, I think it's kind of shaky. This is my only complaint with this book is the things that they find like. I don't feel like Wonder Man and Vision are related. I know they're supposed to be, and but all this seemed kind of forced to me, like this weird forced family. You know what I'm saying? You got Agatha, Wonder Man, Quicksilver,
the talking cow.
Talking cow. Yeah, and it's basically just showing how happy the Vision is. It basically goes through their life. And it's great. And again, it's all bathed in like this warm red, this slightly tinge of red. Sometimes it's higher than others. They go into the weird shit about their kids and how the kids are not real, and how the Vision, like, look, I don't even know what this shit is. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never read any of this, but apparently they decided that their kids wasn't real at some point in the comic books, and decided that the Scarlet Witch took their souls from somebody, from the devil, and the devil got the souls back. But apparently at some point in the comic books, these kids were really important and was around for years. So someone decided that maybe they shouldn't have kids.
Well, wasn't like Wiccan from Young Avengers supposed to be like her son?
Really? I never read Young Avengers. Damn, I didn't know that.
But like I don't know if it's like, you know, he's really her son, or if like Ultron copied her brain patterns and put them through a blender and spat out a kid who could do magic. Like, it's a comic book. Who knows?
And like and you see like the slow like delusion of their marriage, dissolution, whatever that word is that I'm trying to find. You see
I can't do it either.
Thank you. So I'm glad it's not just me. But he talk about how he tells her how the kids are not real, and she yells at him, "You're not real," and she basically insults him because he's a robot, because you know the kids. Then he turns white and said, "I'm not your father anymore," which is just fucked up. Then he erased her memories. Now look, this is the stuff I see. This is stuff I did read. This is from '98, and basically Wonder Man and Wanda enter into a relationship, and it's
weird.
It's so fucking weird. But you want to hear the best part about this, or the worst part?
Yes.
The first time they have sex, guess who watches them?
Oh yeah, of course he does.
He comes in right when they fall off camera to tell her something, and he's just like, "Oh fuck." Cause he can phase, right? So they didn't know he was there, and he just stood there and watched them have sex. That's like I like read that like last year, but yes, it is quite weird. The George Perez run on the Avengers ask a lot of questions about the about the Vision and the existential crisis that he goes through. Because he's like, do I like chess because I like chess, or is it because Wonder Man like chess? Do I like jazz because I like jazz, or is it because Wonder Man like jazz? Like, do I like Wonder because I like Wonder, or is it because?
No, I get where that would go. That's cool.
He gives her her brain patterns, which is really weird, which is just kind of strange.
Yeah, she's like, here's a copy of my brain in case you ever need to masturbate loudly. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like, I don't want to date you anymore, but if you wanted to, like, make a real doll out of me.
Go right ahead. Like, this.
I'd be cool with that.
I never thought about it like that.
I mean, that's a pretty severe friend zoning.
Oh, God. But here's the thing, though. It's all bullshit, too, because she does still love him. So it's still all bullshit. Yeah. But it's just like her extreme way of trying to block this man out that she clearly still have feelings for. Like no, I don't love you anymore. But here go my brain patterns. What? No, I'm not dating Simon because he vaguely reminds me of you. No, Vision, of course not. And just the last page is him and Virginia now in bed together, and it's bathed in blue as opposed to the hot fiery red.
Yeah.
And he tells this.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, he tells the same joke, and Virginia's like, whatever. And
instead of clothes being thrown everywhere, it's their clothes are neatly like folded on the ottoman at the end of the bed. So
yeah, they're in the same bed.
They are in the same bed now. Okay, so you know what? I think after that, we pretty much covered everything that's important. Oh, George and Nora dies because, well, you know. They have to.
They were in the splash zone.
Yeah, they were in the splash zone of loud masturbation. No, seriously. I do find it funny that before we find out that Victor is like full of shit, that he's actually a pretty good uncle and brother and brother-in-law. Yeah. Like if he wasn't a junkie. Yeah. But you know what? I've known a lot of junkies in my time, Maybe that's why he is a good uncle, brother, and brother-in-law, because he is a junkie. Because junkies have a tendency to be charming.
Mm. I feel like we didn't really hash out all of the Shakespeare stuff. I feel like we got distracted by how it was introduced as a masturbation joke, and then we didn't get into it. But
yes, go ahead.
I mean, like, sort of the brief part, the brief summary is just this play that Vin is obsessed with. I had to look it up. It's The Merchant of Venice. And a large part of the play is that there's an outsider character who is a Jew who essentially runs a bank. He's a moneylender. And,
Shylock, as they call him.
Shylock, yeah. And, kind of one of the central issues of the play is he really a bad guy, or has he just become sort of a bad guy because everyone hates him the whole time? Like if everyone's just mean to you and everyone tells you that they can't trust you and that you're a horrible person, like, do you have any choice to act differently? And so it's interesting that the play sort of echoes everything that's happening in the book. And also, like, Vin was drawn to this play because he saw himself and his family, like, in this book. And it just kind of adds, like, a whole other layer to, like, the drama that's going on, and it kind of gives you, like, this little push to say, okay, maybe you should think about this whole story as sort of like a Shakespearean drama.
I mean, that's definitely what it is. That's definitely, like, then also about that, and from my understanding, from like the brief summary I've read of that, is like, it's kind of like things keep happening to the Shylock that's beyond his control. Like, you know, like no matter what he does, shit just goes bad for him. Like,
yeah.
And they also have this thing about praying, which is
that was lovely.
Which is very do androids dream of electric sheep type.
No, that was a really touching moment where Vision walks in and Viv is about to pray, and first they pray that there's a God, and then they pray that her brother Vin had a soul, and then after that they pray that God will protect his soul. I thought that was kind of sweet in the sort of, like what we were talking about earlier, like, you know, the visions, they've seen, like, videos of people praying, or they've read about how you pray, but, like, they don't get it. And then they make this, like, really earnest expression that turns out to actually totally be it. Like, that's really all it has to be. And yet it still feels, like, really foreign and weird and forced.
Because they're robots. I also like
yeah.
a couple of pages later, you know, the narrator just says, there is a God, but robots don't have souls, so, you know, they're fucked. So it was all pointless. Like, it's just like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Then, you know, he takes his eyeball out and listens to his son. And I think, like, any parent does this, whether you lose a child or not. You think about all the times you brush your kid off because you was, quote unquote, busy at the moment, and you have regrets about that later.
Yeah.
And that's the moment he decided that he's going to go kill his brother.
Yeah.
And you also find that, like, they can't really handle the Vision. Like, he's so powerful that, like, the combined effort of about 30 superheroes, nothing. He just wipes them off like they're flies, like they're mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Like, he put his mind to it, and, like, that was it. Also, I like that there's a billboard for Simon, because Simon Williams, Wonder Man, is also an actor.
Okay. Oh, so the movie that was in the background, was that him?
Yes, that's him. That is him.
Okay, it's like an onion. It just keeps going.
But yeah, so basically, he takes them all out. Virginia tells Viv her role in her friend's death. She smashes another table because what is this book if not about smashed tables?
Smashing tables. So if we were to make a Vision drinking game, it would be every time they smash a table.
But yeah, so he goes to kill him. The Scarlet Witch comes and tries to stop him, and he puts his hand through her heart and knocks her out, which must be fucking terrible. Like, even his, like, actual love. I don't want to say his actual love. Actually, I think this actually speaks to something, right? Where, like, he might be over the Scarlet Witch, where he actually does love his wife now, that he doesn't need the Scarlet Witch. So he's okay with, like, doing that. I don't think Vision, before this story, would have done that to the Scarlet Witch. I believe any other time the Scarlet Witch would have been able to talk him down.
Yeah.
But now he has a wife that he actually loves, that he's actually with. Plus, revenge is on his mind. So he just takes the Scarlet Witch out.
Well, but also there's a little bit of like, if she really loved him, she would have shown up and helped him sooner. Like, the Avengers sent Victor. They didn't send her.
Well, that
right?
might have been awkward, but I get what you're saying.
Well, no, it might have been awkward, but, like, if she really loved him, she would have been like, oh, hey, he's going through some shit right now. I need to be there to help him. And instead she's like, yeah, we should totally send in Uncle Junkie, and that's totally going to be a great idea. Let's send in, okay, we got murder bots smashing tables all over the place. Send in more murder bots.
Send in Uncle Junkie, and like, let's tell the police, let's tell the superhero police, instead of me just going to him, like,
yeah,
like catching him by himself and having a deep, long talk. Let's tell the Avengers and send in Uncle Junkie.
Yeah.
And
so I feel like it might have been him being a little bit like, okay, not only is he over her, but also, like, she kind of did him wrong also.
I know, I never looked at it like him doing her wrong, but you are absolutely right. And then Virginia rips out Victor's heart. Victor is happy because he doesn't become this evil killing machine that kills everybody later. A lot of evil killing machines that kill people in the future in this book. I gotta tell you.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't send in the Sentinels. Just open a time portal and be like, how do you like that, Vision? Pick on some super overpowered robots your own size.
So we go to issue 12, which is called Spring. Because I guess it's been a whole year. Does that track? Do we know that if it tracks like that? Like,
that seems right, because like, it started when the school year started, and then, like, it was a couple of months for Viv to get repaired, and, like, Victor came and lived with them, and they were all there and, like, happy for, like, a few months. So I think it is supposed to be, like, the beginning of spring by the end.
Okay. And Viv confesses, but again, it's, like, in this orange glow, because it's not exactly what happens. It's close enough. It's like, this is what I like about this story. I didn't know how in the hell they was going to get out of this, but Tom King figured out a way to get out of this. To bring the Vision back to where he needs to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it was really well done, and maybe that's a good way to kind of, like, wrap this up. Is maybe we should talk about, like, what are the consequences of this story? Like, where does it lead?
Nothing. That's the point. That's the sad part, because it's the Vision, and they can't have him be this thing. They need him back in the main continuity doing hero stuff. So right. This has to end in a way that's like,
yeah,
that push him back at zero. And, like, it's the most frustrating thing about comics. You know what I'm saying? Like, this should have lasting consequences, and it doesn't. Like, and, like, that's the thing. Like so much to the point now. Viv, his only surviving child is now on the Champions. So she's just in a normal superhero book now. Are we
Okay.
supposed to ignore like all this shit, all the trauma they both went through? Like, man, we supposed to have like these superheroics again? Like, it's really.
What? Okay, so then, like, hypothetically, how would you have carried this through into? Would you? Is there a way this could have been carried into other books, or would you have liked to see it have like more of an impact, or is it a good enough book without? I guess what I'm saying is you really like this story, and they just kind of like undo it all at the end, so it can go back to normal continuity.
Well,
did that ruin it?
Well, this is the thing, right? He ends it, and like a lot of books doesn't do this, but I think he ended it in a perfect way. If this is the only book you ever read, you don't have to think about the end, because we even talk about the actual ending as he sends Viv to school, and she just kind of accepted the fact that she's not normal, and that's okay. But then he goes upstairs, and he's building
he's working on some robot, yeah.
So he hasn't learned not one lesson. He hasn't learned a thing. And you know what? That's kind of creepy and kind of fucked up, and like that's actually a pretty good ending. It's just, and this is the only book you read, I think it's fine. But if you go back and read other superhero books after this, how do you reconcile that vision with this vision?
Right, like the next time Vision and Scarlet Witch end up talking to each other in another book, like it should be a little bit weird.
A little bit.
And they should also have like 20 bodyguards.
Well, this is the thing, right? I don't think the Vision goes back to being a superhero. Like, even if, quote unquote, his memory was messed with and his programming was messed with, I guarantee you, I can't put this for sure. I guarantee you, after this was over with, shit was just normal again in the other books. Like none of this shit just didn't, like, he just didn't almost like destroy the world. You know what I'm saying? Comic books, man. Comic books. That's why The Watchmen works so great, because there's a definitive ending. There's a definitive ending to that story.
Well, speaking of other books, do you want to pick out our next read?
Go right ahead, Amanda. It's your turn.
All right. So the background to this is that I am a huge fan of the writer Mike Carey. He did Lucifer. He did The Unwritten. He did Suicide Risk. I've read one or two other things that he wrote that were creator-owned. And I've even read one of his novels that got turned into a movie. I have never read any of Mike Carey's superhero stuff, and I also have not read any of his Hellblazer. So I was hoping that you would join me to read maybe the first trade of Mike Carey's run on Hellblazer. It looks like he started in what Comixology has labeled as volume 16. On sale for $6 right now.
Oh, about to go buy it right now.
Yeah. So I haven't read this. I don't know if it's good. I've read the first 2 or 3 volumes of Hellblazer, but I haven't read through like the Garth Ennis run yet. So like I have no idea what this is going to be like.
I love the fact that you keep picking. Look, I have 1,010 comic books, and I love you keep picking books that I don't have already. I'm not complaining. Like that's honestly a joke. It's fine, but I do find it hilarious that like I'm gonna suggest this thing that you don't have.
I'm surprised that you don't just have all of Hellblazer on your list.
Look. There's only so much money in the world.
I know there's only so much money in the world.
But here's the thing, though. I got complete runs of other shit. Like, just complete runs. I haven't got around to Hellblazer yet. I'm sure I would eventually. But plus, there's a lot of Hellblazer. There's a lot of...
There is a lot of Hellblazer, yeah.
Okay, $5.99, and I just bought it. So there you go. So, So,
Cool.
is there anything else you would like to add, Amanda? Like maybe like how lies and secrets corrodes the family and the soul?
No, I'm feeling totally confident and secure in how human I am and how a society is a great and magical place and it's easy to be alive and there are absolutely no responsibilities that go with being an adult and it's all ice cream and puppies all the time. Oh my gosh.
We're going to read a happy book eventually.
You know, yeah, we're gonna have to read a happy book eventually.
Right.
I don't think Hellblazer's gonna be that.
I think after this, I think we may have to read like some really comic book type shit. Just the most mind numbing. Like we're gonna have to read like Civil War or some shit like that. Something.
Daniel Way's run on Deadpool.
Yeah, something. Yeah, exactly. Because like, you know, these first couple of issues have been really, really like heavy. So, yeah. Anyway, I got ideas. So guys, we will see you back in a couple of weeks. That would be on the 19th? No, the 26th. Because next week I will be out of town for Power Rangers. For the Power Rangers coverage.
Nice. Oh, we should read Power Rangers.
Do you really want to read Power? I don't want to put you through that. Like, I actually think it's a little.
I'm fine.
I personally think it's a legitimately like good. Like, it's a good. Like, it's better than it has any right to be. If that make any sense. It's not groundbreaking like Division or anything, but like for something like that, because like they got like a real artist and like a real writer to do it. It's way better than it has any right to be. So
I'm fine with Power Rangers.
You sure? So
I am.
You want to read Power Rangers?
Well, if you're doing a Power Rangers thing next week,
right.
Then let's read Power Rangers right now, and we can read Hellblazer after that.
Okay, cool. I think we got the first I think we got like the next 3 or 4 shows together now. Also, okay, so cool. We'll talk more about this off air. We just
completely changed the game plan.
Yes, we did. So next week we'll be reading Power Rangers. We would actually probably be reading the first. You know what? I'm about to pull another audible. We're going to read Power Rangers, right? But we're going to read like the first 16 issues. That sounds insane, but like the way it's set up is it goes by 4-issue arcs. And
okay.
Like, it's just broken up weird. Like the trades are just broken up weird like that, where they're like 4-issue arcs, and like it tells a whole complete story, but it's over like 16 issues. So. But if it changes again, we'll let you know on Twitter. So right now,
sounds good to me.
So for Amanda Comey, I am Jamil Payne, and we are out.